All right, check it out. So we are back again today. We've been watching some Robot Chickens, MADtv, as well as some Reno 911. Just getting some of the throwback shows going. And on our little venture here, we found a few videos, two so far, by Rebeltaxi, which shows not only Cartoon Network's Mad Evolution and the OG, when we found out that the original MADtv shorts were then eventually made to a Cartoon Network show, Mad, around 2013. There was also an earlier version that had all like the cartoon clips from like the live action. So he goes deep to that, as well as we'll check out Billy and Mandy, the Darkest Cartoon Network show. As we end up going down a whole rabbit hole. So yeah, enjoy. Rebeltaxi, let's take a look.
Base, click the link below.
How odd. I mean, in this climate, you'd expect maybe a polar bear or something. Again, that just doesn't make any sense. Will you move already?
Mad is now published in 9 languages around the world, and for 3 decades has been among the top 10 best-selling magazines on the stand.
Another day, another alimony. If you wanted to see up-to-date parodies
I never knew
of public figures in 1952, you didn't have much to work with.
I never knew that they had like that whole live action shit. Cause that's like uncanny.
Another alimony. If you wanted to see up-to-date parodies of movies or public figures in 1952, you didn't have much to work with. It was a time before memes online, SNL, Simpsons, Colbert Report, Newgrounds, The Onion, or Weird Al. Among the few outlets that influenced most of those was Mad Magazine.
I do remember the magazine.
Is this Mad?
I want to see if I can actually find like a OG.
Very funny.
You kids don't remember Mad or magazine.
We have no philosophy, we have no politics, we don't take sides.
We have no morals, we have no scruples.
We have no
Plus,
taste.
I mean, working for Mad means just never having to grow up.
That, I suspect, is the essence of it.
So sad to see this
Often
end.
peaking at 2 million issues sold in a month, this was the #1 humor magazine among kids working in coal mines. And you recognize their mascot, Alfred E. Newman? Well, they didn't create him. He was actually a goofy face many advertisers used since the late 1800s for anything from dentistry to pie.
This I had no clue about. I thought that this was the Mad guy. This has always been the Mad kid. But to come to find out this is just literally pretty much a copyright ambiguous character that was like just used in that verse that was just recognizable pretty much everywhere is awesome to see as well. Like, oh my god. Like all of these are literally like one
This
for
one
one.
looks like he collabed with the Gorillas. Repurposing Alfred as the mascot basically turned him into a vintage troll face or soy jack meme.
That's fair.
Mad did not take itself seriously and yet had a lot of integrity. Even when they were bought up by Warner Brothers in 1967, they had tons of creative control, accepting no advertisements and did only the merchandise they approved of. Sorry, can't relate. So they could mock whoever without the threat of companies pulling ads. While they mostly stuck to print, the magazine did branch out with various animated projects I'll cover. Mainly tonight's topic, Cartoon Network's Mad from 2010, commonly regarded as Robot Chicken for kids. Yet was there more to it than that? Not really. But do you have anything better to leave on in the background? It's very likely you do.
I
You're
mean,
never gonna
honestly.
close all those tabs. This is just jam time.
The call out right here. Because I literally have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 times. Close. 15 times. Okay. Where can you even find a blockbuster? Like, you had to record this, or you have a blockbuster tape. They still have videotape rentals, DVD rental places, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a blockbuster. Okay. This Rebeltaxi. Man, fuck with the intro.
We will not be seen at this time, so we may bring you the Mad Magazine TV special.
The publication's first animated outings was in 1974, the Mad Magazine TV special.
Yeah.
It's a series of skits with artists and writers from said magazine. Some of these are even adapted from previous issues.
I'm about to say, this looks
You'll
like
get
the
rapid fire
Godfather.
jokes, some will drag on. Visually, I adore this skit the most. A peek behind the scenes at a hospital. You got this Where's Waldo tier layout while they zoom in on each gag. Kind of like shoving your face into a magazine, which is what I'm gonna do to you, Ricardo.
Oh, if only he could have held on for another hour. Why? Is his doctor coming? No, I charged him for an extra day.
Seems like they drew the set twice, once for close-ups and the other for wide shots. A time before computer animation.
This right here is also crazy. Like, film cell animation was like peak artistry levels. Like, the amount of work and detail that people are putting into these, and like how well they still hold up today. Like, sure, they don't hold up in the sense of like quality now that like you've got all these HD, computer animated stuff. But to be doing all this stuff hand drawn, and then the workarounds they had to try to bring the 2D landscape to TV, mind-boggling. Like, these people were really doing it up.
I gotta say,
On a
no one
different
does
level.
dirty, sketchy animation like the 70s. I can smell the animators' cigarette ashes on these film cells. Now, looking at the credits, there were some notable animators who worked on Popeye, Ralph Bakshi movies, Yellow Submarine, Roger Rabbit, and even animator Bud Lucky's here, who designed Woody from Toy Story and voiced this guy in The Incredibles. I personally thought this was all a good adaptation of the magazine, but animation takes too long to be topical, and there's a reason why this was supposedly never aired. No advertiser wants to support a show that might mock them next, especially the car manufacturers they did a whole parody of. Better luck next time.
Oh, I know, but what difference does that make? Even if we made good, fast, dependable cars, who'd ever know it when there's no room for them to move anyway?
I mean, talk about social commentary that hasn't changed in the past, 20, 30 years? Now the roads are even wider, and you still have the same amount of traffic. So, like they said, like, even if you do have a good, reliable, fast car, you'll never know. That's insane.
Good, fast, dependable.
Better luck next time.
Oh, I know, but what difference does that make? Even if we made good, fast, dependable cars, who'd ever know it when there's no room for them to move anyway?
I see what you mean. This is Howard K. Bluntly signing off.
How about some lost media? Now, you thought this be a rehash of Nintendo's Mad video, but no, I found something his video didn't cover. His Clone High vid was more informed, so that balances out. Unreleased and planned for 1988, it's Hanna-Barbera's Lost Mad Show. It's very difficult to research, as the few bits of info are wiki pages sourcing blog posts and random internet forums. There's message board users confusing the previous Mad special for this one, so I almost doubted this existed until I found an upload by animator Rami Garcia. He's done it all from Bonkers, Gargoyles, 2D Disney sequels, and Green Eggs and Ham. This Mad clip was digitized from a moldy VHS, while even his work friends did not have any more, so do not bother him. All there is for now are 2 minutes of a lost sketch show. And look,
Spy versus
Spy, the original race war. Which side will you choose? Comment down.
I never viewed Spy versus Spy as a race war. I really just took it as two opposing sides. I never thought of them like as having them having been against each other because of their color. I mean, I get like that. There's the white one and the black one, obviously, but there was never like any like actual social commentary from that end. Just they were two opposing spy companies fighting against it. But yeah, no, never took it that deep.
Below.
Everybody freeze!
And that's all I found. Somewhere in WB's vault, this show is rotting away next to all the tax write-offs and the fourth Warner Brother we are forbidden to speak of.
I'm going to go down this rabbit hole. There's a fourth Warner Bros. Oh yeah, this doesn't speak 80s,
Of
90s.
course, I'm obligated to mention 1985's MADtv, a live-action sketch comedy that really had nothing to do with the magazine. In fact, according to the AV Club, the publication's co-creator William M. Gaines never really was a fan of TV and didn't want his magazine adapted. But after he died in 1992, those rights were licensed out to make MADtv. I guess a Saturday Night Live wannabe would make sense. But in between the sketches are animated segments channeling the right energy.
This is what we have to find so we can react to. The OG MADtv
The ones I remember
cartoons.
most were the demented versions of kids' cartoons, Powerpuff Girls, or those Rankin Bass Christmas specials.
Yes.
I've met people who, growing up, thought those were the real thing. Stop motion is already kind of creepy, and this did not help the case.
I remember those.
It is, again, tough to find info of, thanks to the Cartoon Network show flooding search results, and I keep thinking, yeah, that SpongeBob parody with Tom Kenny, classic.
Squeeze myself over Saddam Hussein's mouth?
Or
What?
a duo, but no, those were from SNL. If you remember the early TV seasons, they were decked out in a ton of Mad memorabilia and bumper art from the magazines. You put some vintage characters up on the walls, it's got a nice, classy pop art aesthetic. But I'm sad to see how the later seasons got rid of that branding in favor of generic cityscapes that SNL and like talk show does. Well, I used to watch this way more than Saturday Night Live. It was more unhinged.
Way more unhinged.
A comic book based on me, maybe like the premature ejaculator.
To set us up.
You got a good booty too. I just want to let
What
you know.
about my booty, Mr. Duncan?
Well,
This is Israeli, am I right? Wow. As a Jew, do I have a chance to make it in the entertainment industry? Never.
I can't believe the producer Avi Arad would say that. Most of MADtv was live action, yet they had a voice actor on the cast. Yeah, Samurai Jack and Green Lantern.
Bruh. Samurai Jack. Will from Foster's Home. Jonathan the Green Lantern. Our boy Static Shock Virgil. Ow. That boy Dracula. Dracula don't bite. Dracula scrape and lick. Hey yo, Dracula was wild. We're definitely watching that Billy and Mandy one next.
Phil Lamar, who's done live action roles on occasion, like he got his face blown off in Pulp Fiction.
Ah, yes.
Is he a friend of yours?
Jerry Seinfeld! What's crazy is MADtv did not forget that aspect in their Pulp Fiction parody that crosses over Forrest Gump.
Lee Harvey Oswald, Gary Sinise, and Phil Lamar.
Not again.
Now maybe it's just me, but I believe we're gonna have to get medieval on your buttocks.
Now, the most iconic moment for me was anytime comedian Bobby Lee said the phrase, "Uh-oh, hot dog!" Classic. I say that all the time. It can be applied to any situation, like you're at a barbecue and you burn your tongue on a sausage, uh-oh, hot dog. Or you get food poisoning from the food cart on the street, uh-oh, hot dog. Or you're showering with the guys at Gold's Gym and trip on a bar of soap with your mouth open.
Okay.
So, what may anger you, a fool, is this was my first exposure to the Mad brand. On the many times I saw The Simpsons reference it, I thought they were talking about the show. Could you blame me? Yes. But the sales of the magazine were on the downturn past the 70s. Maybe there was more options for that kind of humor and kids were focusing on video games or TV. Mad was looking for ways to recoup the losses, accepting ads, more merch, video game deals, and loaning the broadcast rights leading to MADtv. But in 2009, those rights were expired as WB got them back. The following year, a more kid-focused series would premiere. What show could that be? What video are you watching, idiot? We'll be back with more Mad after this. But first, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. Got an idea for a cartoon? Want to host a website, organize your art, or sell stuff? You need a website. Squarespace. From so many Rebeltaxi. Check the description below.
Coming up on Cartoon Network.
Mad. Later. Regular show.
I sure wouldn't want to be Mars when they get their water bill. We now return to Mad, already in progress.
So this is what we kept running into when we were trying to find on the MADtv. I'm like, this isn't what I'm looking.
Finally,
but it like takes up all the search results, like you said.
2010's Mad. It's yet again a sketch show because what else would it be? A historical biopic on the plight of Native Americans and women's suffrage? As hot as that would be, that's just not the world we live in. This is Robot Chicken for Kids, led by Kevin Shinick, a writer, voice, and producer for Robot Chicken. Ow. You know what to expect from a series of gags. It may have been aimed at kids, but this era had Cartoon Network rediscover its edgy phase. Rather than aiming for ages 7 and up, much of CN at the time went for a somewhat tougher PG rating, which mirrors the books. It started as a comic, but with new regulations via the Comics Code stepping in to censor them, Mad became a magazine to get away with way more.
But if we clap real hard, she'll come back to life, right? Right?
This series had one-off gags, fake commercials, but mostly parodies combining multiple properties. This will often include a then-recent film nobody remembers. Like, they got this blatant shipping art of a My Little Pony with Eeyore the donkey together. I want what they have, but it wasn't meant to be.
You can't outrun your fate, Eeyore! You weren't supposed to meet her.
So, you guys remember the 2011 film Adjustment Bureau? It's the Adjustment Bureau.
Oh, God.
How about Kitchen Nightmares Before Christmas?
Okay.
As a sort of fantasy, the creative team's goal was to combine two unrelated things where the concept is so outlandish that the parody holds up for how odd it is. You might not remember the movie, but you'll definitely be amused at how unhinged the spoof feels.
No, wait, I'll clean that up.
Oh.
I asked my Twitter fans what they thought of the show growing up, being unfamiliar with the subjects mocked. A lot of them were confused, yet still entertained at whatever was going on. This show kind of appealed to everyone, which creator Kevin Shinick had this to say.
I love watching the show with my kid. They're laughing at stuff that I don't get, and they get to share with me what I'm missing. And I'm laughing at stuff that they don't get, and we get to have this dialogue about what the inside joke is. If I'm writing something where the dialogue is for kids, I'm going to make sure the visuals are something for the adults. If the dialogue is a little funnier or more risque for the adults, then I'm going to make sure that what they're looking at is something that they recognize or enjoy. We want to give kids the feeling that they're watching something that they technically shouldn't be watching.
Now, as Warner Brother employees/slaves, the writers were sometimes allowed to watch upcoming movies early for their parodies.
Really?
WB was totally fine with jokes at their own stuff, as the creator was disappointed he never got a single cease and desist to frame in his office.
Oh, damn.
Those they mocked were actually flattered. Man of Steel may have been one of WB's biggest films that year, but they were totally cool with this parody starring Weird Al voicing Superman. They even made fun of how this reinvention got rid of the red trunks.
Too late. I'm here to turn myself in. What? They threw out my red undies.
Yeah, but we thought you'd replace them with something.
Oh. And the alien known as Superman was arrested for indecent exposure today.
Speaking of Weird Al, there is an unfinished music video by Kablam designer and co-producer for The Mad Show, Mark Merrick. The visuals were for Polka Face, but WB could not get the license, thus it was never used. At least Robot Chicken managed to do Weasel Stompin' Day with Al.
Polka face. Baby, baby, baby.
So watching a movie early helped a lot with the skits, but other times they'd have to rely on just the trailer, which led to cheap reference jokes like some Meet the Spartans tier writing.
Hi, I'm Fred. ahead. My mom says I'm too hyper, but I think she's mean.
Kinda dated, yet impressive. This was a concept said to be impossible, and up-to-date magazine animated. After writing an episode, it only took 2 months to complete. Most of the animation was done either in-house or at various US and Canadian studios. But these opening segments featuring breaking news were recorded 2 weeks prior.
This reminds me of what was it called? Oh my God, there was this HBO show. Let's see. Hold on. Crashbox. Oh my, if y'all have ever seen Crashbox, that was like the new rate, but it was like more informational, I feel like.
Well, now that we've got your attention, let the games begin.
Like each little segment, I then have like a little game or something. My sister is one who love watching this.
And now, Distraction News with your anchor person, Dora Smarmy.
Good evening. I'm Doris Marmy, and welcome to Distraction News, where we give you the news and then ask you 5 questions about what we've just reported. So make sure you're not distracted. This just in, volcanic eruptions. The word volcano comes from Vulcan, the name of the Roman god of fire and metalwork. The ancient Romans believed that the fire and smoke coming from the mountains were Vulcan's furnace. Before a volcano erupts, it grows. That's because prior to the eruption of a volcano, the magma, or molten rock, boils some 50 to 100 miles below the surface.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I would have a couple of paying attention. What? I'm paying attention so far. The Vulcan god, all that, the furnace. Okay. Boy, the fact that they're purposely trying to distract you. Holy shit, this is like. But like I said, this reminded me of like an educational
cracks and weak points in the Earth's surface. The ground under the magma grows from the force of the boiling rocks. As magma rises, it gives off gases. These gases cause explosions that blow holes in the top of the volcano. We call these holes vents or craters. When the magma reaches the surface, we call it lava. The lava goes through the craters and flows down the side of the volcano like a fiery river. Lava can get very hot, over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Volcanoes also throw ash and rocks into the air. The larger rocks are called volcanic bombs. Uh-oh, better look out below. Volcanoes can be found all over the world. In 1980, one even erupted in Washington State, St. Helens.
Like 3 or
Now
4
let's see
different
how well
videos
you were
running in
able
the
to remember the
background.
facts. And be sure to count how many you get right. Before a volcano
Alright,
erupts, it does what? Loses its temper, shrinks, or grows? The answer is, it grows.
Okay.
As magma rises, it gives off what? A beautiful rainbow of colors, gases, or a shrill sound?
Gases, we know.
The answer is gases.
Easy.
Exploding gases cause holes in the top of the volcano called what? Big holes, hot pits, or vents.
Not big old holes. Obviously, vents and craters.
The answer is vents and craters. When the magma reaches the surface, we call it what? Ouch, ouch, hot, hot, hot.
Ouch.
Lava or a rocky melt?
Oh, Rocky Mountain. That sounds like a good ice cream dish. Obviously, we know lava.
The answer is lava. And finally, volcanoes can throw large rocks into the air. What are these rocks called? Crater makers, volcanic bombs, or, hey, wait a minute, that used to be my house. The answer is volcanic bombs. So, how did you score? Did I crush you? I hope not, because without you, I'm nothing. See you next time, and remember, don't let anything distract you from watching Distraction News.
This has been Distraction News with your favorite cardboard cutout anchor person, Tora Smarmy.
It's crazy for stop motion. And they always had the craziest, like, cutaways. Like, this shit, just so much is going on. But okay, back to where we were.
We thought this could be done because legally, with parodies and the speed at which we wanted to do it to make topical, everybody's like, yeah, good luck, you know. And it was almost like teaching all divisions, you know, the legal division and the production division, that we can do this. And it's only because everybody on my team put in like 200%. I could write something today and in 2 months have it on the air.
This show was done as fast as possible with the same few voice actors. Sure, some skits look like a middle schooler barely discovering Adobe Flash on their virus-coated laptop, while others are what kept me engaged.
Could you pass the terrified humans, dear? Thank you, dear.
They still had designs by or inspired from many of Mad's usual gang of idiots. Don Martin, Al Jaffe, Tom Richmond, Sergio Aragones, and Antonio Prohias' Spy
vs. Spy.
Early seasons had them in 2D, but later on they opted for more stop motion.
Yeah, I like the 2D better, but you know, gotta go with the times with this.
Mad was constantly trying to find any cool art style, even patrolling Comic-Con for artists they were inspired by. This was basically a glorified Newgrounds collab. You had designers known for Kablam, Book of Life, Star Versus, or Ugly Americans. You can tell these gags were by Augenblick, the Ugly American studio, because it has a higher frame rate than real life. Yet I'm very impressed by their Jack Coiby Hawkeye skit.
What? Was that a mop?
What? No, it was a trick.
Playing Marvel's Rivals
That was
like
a mop.
trick mop there, bro.
The magazine would make fake campaigns for the mascot Alfred E. Newman. While the show avoided any real political or social commentary, they still kept up that tradition for several skits in 2012.
Each election year, the magazine sponsored Alfred E. in a run for the presidency. But that has stopped.
We stopped running Alfred in the last few elections because when we got to see who the candidates were, we thought he now has a chance of winning. The joke was
everything they could to translate MADtv. But one complaint with the series is they often parody the same few topics. Pokemon, Justin Bieber, My Little Pony, it's for kids. Unlike Robot Chicken, whose target audience has about 2 or more decades to absorb media. With reoccurring topics, Mad was borderline a YouTube content farm. Where's the Squid Game Wednesday ad and Digital Circus parody? As with any old magazine, this show needs to be syndicated in a dentistry waiting room for kids coked out on noxious gas.
Mr. Aragones,
The last actual comic book stuff.
cartoons and your mustache.
That's crazy.
You want it? Take it. It's brought me nothing but misery.
Wow, thanks.
It's growing closer and closer to Futurama every day.
Good
Now, in between some of the skits, they paid tribute to the source with these scribbles called marginals. To fill in empty spots on the pages, mad cartoonist Sergio Aragonis would doodle between the gaps. That's typically where I like to stick my doodle.
It stinks. But I do like the tiny doodles in the margins.
Oh, that's just some relish from a hot dog I found.
From a hot dog I found.
Another fun homage are the end credits. Not because my suffering's over, but because these fold into itself, similar to the fold-ins. I think The Simpsons can explain it best.
What higher power do TV evangelists worship? I'll say God. I'll say Jesus. The Almighty
Dollar.
Fold it, you bought it.
Yeah, so I never grew up with Mad, but I was reading through old issues on archive.org. I would have loved this stuff as a kid. These fold-ins became my favorites.
Stop art.
What
wow.
brilliant new idea
That's
as
crazy.
a kid.
That's crazy. Empty frame is big improvement. And that's so funny because they have actually done shit like this. What was it, like the fucking piece of art where it was like the banana stapled to the fucking canvas? Like, oh my god. And then didn't some guy buy it for like a couple $1 billion or something like that and then just eat the banana? Like, just out of pocket. So that folding is actually dope as fuck. Stop Studios and Pop Art and Op Art. Which, yeah, what is even happening? Versus, yeah, oh my god.
Fold-ins became my favorite.
Social commentary is insane.
What brilliant new idea has the current TV season produced? The
same old trash. God damn. Still topical.
Trash. Hell yeah. These were painted by Al Jaffe, who contributed to Mad for 65 years. He's got the Guinness World Record for working in comics the longest at 77 years. There were plans to do these images in video form for the show, but they just didn't have the right pacing for this fast series. Guess it works better in print, like this one. What is the image of U.S. justice that the rest of the world sees? Yeah, the cartoon was never that hardcore. Missed opportunity. Though there was the infamous Grey's an Anime skit. It's the most overdone Japanese cartoon spoof ever, and it features a cameo by... There. He was our generation's Epstein. He's been forgotten while some jokes were dated when this aired. Like here in this parody of the Facebook movie The Social Network. More like the So-So Network.
Come on, Mark. This is our time. Yeah, but speed it up, because in a few minutes, it'll be our time. Security, have them removed.
You see, back then, regular show premiered new episodes right after, though I was there when this exact skit debuted. They rescheduled regular show to go at a different time, so the joke never made any sense.
Yeah.
Some poor writer thought he was so clever, but the schedule gods were a cruel one.
He's my son, and I say he's too irresponsible to have a party. That would be more stupid than the time Jonah Hill tried to eat a plane.
So that's what that looks like.
From its premiere to now, I always felt Mad was a mixed bag. Hell, it's one of my first reviews on this YouTube channel in 2010, back in high school.
It's not that I watch these shows, I just need something colorful in the background as I surf the web. Mad, it's essentially Robot Chicken for kids. I'm very mixed in the show. It feels like the Friedberg and Seltzer approach of referencing what's popular without having a joke to tell.
Though, the more I watched it, the more I grew to love it, and yes, I'm making nostalgia-based videos on things made when I first started.
We're going back to basics.
Not every skit is gonna land, but skimming through as I edit, there's a lot of gold buried throughout. I would just take breaks from editing and watch through whole episodes again. Beyond the pulp culture, there were timeless skits over fake product parodies.
Based on the same technology used to train animals, the Parent Trainer is equally effective, but twice as much fun.
Victoria, I thought I told you to turn that music down.
Whoa, hold on, that song, what?
Victoria.
Shall we, Scanty?
So, here's where I found out the villain theme to one of my favorite animes, Panty and Stocking, features stock vocals anybody can edit into a song, copyright free.
I want you to make believe it's the first time, and I gotta say to you,
Mad mixed in every idea and art style together. Some gags were also redone from the previous animated incarnations, which were taken from old magazine issues. You wish your manga adaptation was this accurate. The more I dig, the more stuff I find was pulled from the magazine. This was probably the best way to ever make a Mad cartoon, but it just didn't last.
Yes, what ended up happening? Why did they have to close down?
It first appeared almost 70 years ago, bringing with it a revolution in satire that was later widely imitated but seldom equalled. But now, all that's about to change.
Mad Magazine will halt publication next month.
So now that Mad Magazine is no longer going to be publishing new content, what is Mad's legacy?
Don't trust authority. Question the government.
Some of these people who are working at Mad Magazine right now have been there for 5 decades. Right. 55 years. Al Jaffe, one of the main illustrators, has been there for 53 years or so. And it's just incredible. So now
Starting in 2010 and canceling 3 years later, Mad completed 103 episodes, or roughly 52 half hours of footage, implying this was another victim of the 52 episode rule. Implying this was another victim of.
I understand. TV channels order 52 episodes to be made and no more. They can license the show to rerun on other channels. Those channels can rerun them once a week for a whole year. It's a good investment to sell to other networks. It is cheaper than making more episodes. Oh, okay. So any of those shows we sell like about 50 episodes or more, and that was about it. That was pretty much purposeful from the jump. They knew they could still just have them run that for a whole year and just keep getting the rerun through different networks. That's crazy.
The 52 episode rule. Part of me wishes this series lasted longer. On one hand, it's fast to make and easy to jump into with no continuity. On the other, the shelf life is short, and imagine this airing in other countries. Who knows if the show's mocked even aired there? It's like if Americans were forced to watch a parody of Burn das Brot? Burn das Brot? What's next? Rocky Balboa versus Louis Farrakhan?
we read that, a couple of the associate editors said, gee, you know, I don't think many kids are going to get that. You know, who's Louis Farrakhan? I looked at Nick, and Nick said to me, we don't care if they're going to get it. You know, that's what makes Mad great.
Going in its course, the cartoon unceremoniously ended in 2013. The magazine itself kept going just a few more years until completed in 2019.
Wow.
Truly a dark day for people who still read magazines. How else will the elderly and prison convicts
2019 is really not that long ago. That's crazy.
Issues of Mad in the comic book stores, but those are just mixtapes of old pages. It's But if you ever enjoyed anything from The Simpsons, SNL, or Weird Al, those owe a lot to what Mad Magazine created. Even if you never read it, you very likely watched something influenced by it. With the Cartoon Network series, it too likely shaped the humor of a new generation of kids and comedic geniuses. I'd love to see another mixed media sketch show like this again.
Even if they don't understand every word of it, they know that adult sacred cows are being deflated, and that may be enough.
Don't give up. Challenge again.
We interrupt this program with some breaking news.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to find the OG MADtv skits from like what's 5 vs. 5 and all that, and like those cartoon, stop motion cartoon spoofs. Yeah, no, that's exactly what we have on our list. But that's insane, though. The actual build-up, because that was what I was trying to find out, is when we were looking for the MADtv clips for our reactions. We wanted to, because that's one of the shows on Mad and MADtv are both shows on our list. But when I was looking it up, I'm like, the Mad that I found, I didn't recognize as much because it was the Cartoon Network Mad from 2013. And so that's when I was like trying to find the clips without the cartoon. Like he said, pretty much all the search algorithm is like all of the Cartoon Network Mad skits and whatnot. So it's like damn near impossible unless you go through like search as far as you can in the search to find any of the like MADtv ones. So I'm gonna have to try to find those MADtv cartoon skits and whatnot and see what we can get. But that's insane. I mean, I knew about the magazine. I've always loved about the magazine. I feel like I had like a small Mad magazine at one point when I was younger. But I want to see if I can find some of the actual chicks. That would be dope to get up on the walls and everything as well. But yeah, no. That was Rebeltaxi giving us the Cartoon Network's Mad Evolution. Glad he threw in the OG MADtv. Like I said, I was driving myself crazy trying to figure out what was going on with that. So, all right, y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed. We'll be watching his, I think, the Cartoon Network for Grim and Billy and Mansion next. So, check us out.